1678. That's how many lives Charlie Hayes saved during her decade as an elite Green Beret sniper. From extracting hostages in war-torn regions to protecting high-risk diplomatic convoys, she held the highest rescue success rate in Special Forces history. Now, she tends to her small apple orchard in Cascade Valley, Montana, a single mother of two who most locals know only as the quiet woman who makes the best cider at the autumn fair. When the Iron Serpent's motorcycle gang rolled into her secluded valley, they saw what everyone else saw: just another struggling farmer. Another easy target. They never noticed how she could spot their surveillance teams from 2 miles away, never realized her cider press barn had been renovated with military-grade reinforced walls, never understood that her weekly baking schedule was actually a cover for maintaining sniper positions across her 200-acre property. Their mistake wasn't threatening her orchard. Their mistake wasn't even threatening her children. Their mistake was giving a decorated Special Forces operative who specialized in hostage rescue and protection a reason to reactivate the skills she'd spent 15 years perfecting. Dawn painted the mountain peaks gold as Charlie completed her morning inspection of the orchard's eastern quadrant. Her calloused hands moved with practiced efficiency, checking each irrigation line while her eyes continuously scanned the tree line with ingrained tactical awareness. Spring buds were just beginning to show on the apple trees, promising another bountiful season, if everything went according to plan. The subtle crunch of gravel under tires caught her attention. A vehicle, moving slowly along the access road. Too early for regular delivery trucks. Through the morning mist, she spotted a black SUV with tinted windows making its third pass of the morning. The same vehicle she'd noticed conducting surveillance over the past week, always during her morning inspections. "Mom." Emma's voice carried across the orchard as her 16-year-old daughter jogged between the neat rows of trees, her dark hair pulled back in a practical braid. "Mrs. Chong from the general store just called. Said we should know about some bikers who were asking questions last night." Charlie maintained her relaxed posture while her mind shifted into tactical assessment. What kind of questions? About the orchard. About ownership. About our production numbers. Emma caught her breath, her expression worried. She said they weren't like the usual touring bikes that come through. These guys had matching leather cuts, looked organized, had some kind of red insignia. 10-year-old Noah appeared from behind the cider barn, their Australian cattle dog, Scout, at his heels. The dog's ears were perked, body tense, the same alertness Charlie had noticed over the past few days. "Mom, Scout's been acting weird since sunrise," Noah reported, unconsciously mimicking the precise observation patterns she taught him. "Like that time we had those coyotes stalking the chicken coop." Charlie knelt to scratch behind Scout's ears, noting the dog's fixed attention toward the western property line. "Good boy," she murmured, then turned to her children. "Emma, take your brother to start the morning processing. I need to run into town." The Cascade Valley General Store occupied the heart of the town's main street, a century-old building that had served as the community's primary trading post since its founding. Thomas Chung looked up as Charlie entered, his usually cheerful expression replaced by concern. "Heard you had some visitors last night," Charlie said casually, though her eyes were already mapping potential exit routes and defensive positions, old habits that had never quite faded. "4 of them." Thomas lowered his voice, though the store was empty. "Iron Serpents MC. They're moving up from Nevada, taking over small businesses, farms, especially ones they think might be struggling with bank payments." Charlie maintained her relaxed stance while processing this information. The Iron Serpents had a reputation, not just for typical motorcycle gang activities, but for sophisticated corporate-style takeovers of rural properties. They terrorized owners into selling, then flipped the properties for massive profits to development companies. The bell above the door chimed. Elena Chong, Thomas's elderly mother, hurried in with unusual urgency. "Charlie, dear, you need to see this." They followed Elena outside. A motorcycle cruised past, its rider making no effort to hide his surveillance. The crimson serpent patch on his leather cut caught the morning sun, a symbol that had become increasingly feared across 3 states. "That's the 4th pass this morning," Elena whispered. "They're watching, just like before the Miller place burned down." Charlie squeezed Elena's hand reassuringly. "Don't worry about me, but keep an eye on the kids if they're ever in town alone." Of course, dear. Elena's knowing look made Charlie wonder if the observant older woman had noticed more than she let on. Though I suspect you can handle yourself better than most. Back at the orchard, Charlie found Emma and Noah finishing their processing duties. Her daughter's tense posture showed she'd spotted the motorcycle too. Mom, are we in trouble because of the bank payments? Noah asked quietly. Charlie pulled both children close. No one's taking this orchard. It's been in our family for 4 generations, and it'll stay that way. But those men, Emma started. Some people think being scary gives them power, Charlie interrupted gently. But real strength comes from protecting what matters, not threatening others. She sent them inside, then walked the property's perimeter. Her trained eyes spotted 4 more surveillance positions where bikers had observed the orchard. Their boot prints showed military-style tactical positioning. These weren't just common thugs. Inside the cider barn, Charlie moved the false wall she'd installed behind the apple press. The hidden compartment contained everything she'd hoped to never use again. A modified M486 sniper rifle, tactical gear, and enough ammunition to hold off a small army. She'd built this cache the day she bought the orchard, praying her past would never catch up with her. The sound of approaching motorcycles carried across the valley. Charlie quickly sealed the compartment and emerged from the barn. 5 bikes rumbled past her property, their riders watching openly now. She recognized their patches from Thomas's description. Iron Serpents MC, the most sophisticated criminal organization currently terrorizing the rural Northwest. The lead rider, a tall man with a scarred face and Vance, stitched on his cut, slowed to a stop. His cold smile carried clear threat. Nice place you got here, lady. Shame if something happened to it. Charlie met his gaze calmly, her stance relaxed but balanced, ready to move in any direction. Private property. Best move along. Just being neighborly. His grin widened. Times are hard for small orchards. Banks get impatient. Accidents happen. But we look after our friends. Provide protection for a reasonable fee. Not interested. Vance's expression hardened. Everyone's interested, eventually. Ask Miller how refusing worked out for him. They poured away in a cloud of dust, but Charlie knew this was just the beginning. She watched them disappear around the bend, her mind already formulating plans. The Iron Serpents thought they'd found an easy target, a struggling single mother they could intimidate and destroy. They had no idea they'd just threatened someone who'd spent 10 years learning how to eliminate threats exactly like them. Charlie had left that life behind for her children, built something peaceful. But if the Iron Serpents forced her hand, they'd learn why some predators are better at hiding in plain sight than others.